Okay. This is really bad. 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 So hope this works. How can I check if the sound works? Alright, it's doing something. Okay. Well then, let's talk about yoga, which is just the title I chose for this transmission. It's rather random because most people don't know what Jnana yoga is anyway. So, hey, curious if those who know will show up here. But we're generally talking about yoga per se. Yoga is in the sense of not what most people picture as yoga, like somebody contorting their body into some weird posture, but yoga as in union. Now, even many people have heard that yoga is translated as union, but still, then that doesn't really cut through it. Then many people interpret it as yoga would be the union then of body and mind, or body and mind and spirit, which is true to some extent, but yoga really puts to the unification. The end goal is the unification of everything there is. So, if you, of course, yoga helps you to unify body and mind. Let's say if you do basic practices like breathing and asanas, your mind will be calmer, you will get more into the body, you will get more body awareness, uh, which has already myriads of benefits. Like energy flows where attention goes. You only taking out the attention, a little bit of your mind and your mental uh, fugazi that is going on all the time, like the thoughts, reducing thoughts or reducing attention to thoughts and giving more attention to your body, the inside feeling of your body already lights up your body, because ultimately your attention is of the real power of the light that is actually living your life, or is the life force. And you could already say this is a subtle form of pranayama, because pranayama means what? Control of life force. Prana, life force. Yama, control. Control of life force. So one way your life force can be channeled is through attention, your attention. If you put more attention into your body, already more life force will flow into your body. Now, what most people think pranayama is a breathing exercise. Yes, You call those breathing exercises pranayama. Why is that also a control of life force? Because you take seemingly outward life energy. As long as you believe you're a person in a body, the life energy that is contained within the air around you, you call it outward, external life energy. But pranayama as a breathing exercise would then be taking that external life energy, taking more of it into your body, and by that controlling your life force in the sense of you taking more life force from outside into yourself, what you consider yourself, into your body, which then also regulates your mental state that has in one way to do with your physiological changes in your body. Of course, if there's more oxygen in your blood cells and so on, anyway, your body will be calmer and therefore your psychological state will be calmer. There will be less thoughts, less distress, less anxiety, many benefits. But on a subtler level, this same pranayama that you do when you're thinking you are coming from a physical world understanding of, oh, it's air out there and that contains oxygen, and I'm putting more air in through my lungs into my bloodstream, and therefore, and so on, biology, more oxygen in my blood cells, which my heart rate is higher and more oxygen gets into my limbs and to all my organs and my brain. And because my brain has more oxygen now, maybe it's more relaxed and having less thoughts. This is when you come from a physical, almost scientific understanding of the world, then yes, you could say because you're breathing more, the psychological state changes. But in reality, while you're doing pranayama, you're working on also subtle levels. You're not only pumping oxygen into your blood, the whole exercise also is a subtler exercise. So you don't really have to understand the technologies that are involved um, when you have certain breathing exercises. You can see with the result that something else is going on. I mean, if you have done some Kundalini yoga kriyas or some more intense breathing exercise, even just Wim Hof breathing, you will have realized that perhaps you get visions or you get colors. If you close your eyes, you get colors around around this area in front of your view, your internal view in a way. With closed eyes, you start seeing colors or visions or patterns. Maybe you are going a little bit out of the body or losing awareness of the body or of location. Maybe you are becoming extremely relaxed. And so these are all effects of that happen because you're working on subtle level, on a subtle energy body. These exercises have influence on your energetic body that you might not even be aware of. You're aware of your physical body, but you may be not aware of one subtler level of your body, which is an energetic body, an ethereal body. And the pranayama actually works more, those exercises, that's why they're more advanced exercises than asanas. Asanas working mainly on the physical body. Also works on subtler levels, but it's clear you're putting your physical body into a certain posture. Okay. And you will feel the hamstrings and this one and stretch this and some muscle tension there. That one works mainly on the physical body, affecting the subtle body, but it's not working directly on the body. It's working on the physical body. Pranayama, in turn, which you might interpret from a physical perspective as a physical exercise, is actually a subtle body exercise. So the life force, the prana, the main prana that you are trying to control or getting more into your system, is not coming only from the oxygen around you. It's directly the exercise that you're doing. You are doing an exercise on a subtler level, that on that subtler level, energy is getting into your system, into the subtler body, which is made up of energy channels, and that you might be aware of or not, depending on how much yoga you practice, whether you have this kind of sensitivity that you can feel that you are pouring energy into your subtler energetic body or into energetic channels that run through your body. Neither, nevertheless, if you practice these exercises, those effects will be there. So here we've covered a little bit of yoga, but this is actually not the topic of this live stream, which goes more into the direction of understanding the true nature of reality, or true yoga, or Jnana yoga, unification of that which is real with your illusory self, thereby eradicating your illusory self. Ultimately, there is not really unification. True yoga is eradication of that which is false, illusion. Now, what is false? Your identification with the personal identity in a world is illusory. Ultimately, there is no such thing as a person. A person, the word coming from Old Greek, persona, which can be loosely translated as mask, already says everything about it. It's a mask that has been constructed so that you can mask yourself. Your true self is masked by the person. The real crux is that most people have identified as the mask. They believe they are the mask. Now, you might say, well, what's wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with it per se, only that you live in an illusion. You're living as an illusory self. If you never wake up to the fact that the persona that has been constructed is not your real identity, then your whole life you have lived a lie and you have been unaware of it. The only thing that pointed out to you that maybe something is wrong is the constant suffering that is inflicted on you by running around as a fake illusory mask. Now, I'm not saying that you can't be happy and experience pleasure. There will be pleasure in the body if you do something pleasurable, like eating a cake or having sex. But the other side of the coin will be equally there. You will have craving for ice cream or being sad about having lost your girlfriend or having pain in your leg because you ate too much sugar or whatever it is. And as long as you're identified as a person inside a body, you will just go up and up and down all the time. And you, admit it or not, have a nagging feeling about yourself, however subtle it might be, all the time. This is what the Buddha meant by life is suffering. If you believe something that is false, by the law of the universe, there must be some friction, since you're, to some extent, without it being your fault, going against creation, since you're not aligned with truth, but you have injected a little bit of falsehood, which is your fake identity that you have identified with. From the perspective of life force itself, the life force itself comes into everything actually. There's only life force. It's everywhere, in every tree, every plant, every animal you see, equally inside your body and your mind and everywhere. The whole universe is full of life force. You could say that universe is life force. Chi or prana, as we call it. And the life force coming into you gets, in a way, hijacked. It doesn't really, because to the life force it doesn't really matter what it goes into. It makes a tree, it makes a fruit, it makes an apple, it makes a persona. Okay? But from the perspective of the life force, that is much more potent, that most of the time you're not aware of it because you're blocking it by a kind of constricted personality pattern. That's a psychological, illusory identity living inside you that says, I am this and that, I have this name, I was born here, over there, and I had these parents and they conditioned me to do this and that in school, and now I'm an engineer or whatever. This fake identity takes up the life force that is actually infinite, that could just shine through you. Like if there would be no constricting false identity in front of the life force that is coming into you and then expressing out of you, then you would be a kind of a beam of light body. But since you say you are a person, this and that name, born here and there, so this takes the energy, but because it is a limitation, basically, a grand limitation, it's not contradictory, of the actual life force that is available is a grand limitation. If I say I am this or that and I can't do this and I am over here and I was born yesterday and my age is so and so and I can only do so much. I mean, I'm a human being after all, and I'm so sad today, and I am this and I am that, and so on and so forth. It is programming, taking that life force that you can shape into whatever you like, limiting it to a great extent into an illusory life form called Paul. And because it's such a limitation of original life, it will create some problem. Because life actually naturally would go a certain way. It's inherently in it, it's intelligence itself. The intelligence that creates the forms that you perceive visually, let's say. And I'd give you a little exercise, if you can, just observe in detail just one leaf of any tree out there for a couple of minutes, if you can do that. If in 2025 you're still able to focus your mind for about 5 minutes, try this. Go outside, find an interesting tree, plant, whatever, bush. Look at the leaf for 5 minutes and tell me if you can't recognize some incredible form of intelligence in there. So this is just one expression of life force expressing itself organically, naturally, without it being inhibited by any limitation. The tree saying, I'm not a tree, I want to identify as an ant from Jupiter. Yeah. So, this is what the topic of this stream is. Stop being an ant bear from Jupiter and start being awareness, love, light. Now, why do I suddenly call it awareness, love, light? Well, it's just descriptions that we have. Look, light. Awareness. Recognize awareness. What does this have to do with any yoga or anything, or with you? Awareness is the underlying reality behind all that you think you are and that you perceive. So, how do you recognize awareness? First of all, who's the you that is gonna recognize awareness? Since awareness is before the you that you think you are was created. It is not that you are gonna recognize awareness, but it is gonna be that awareness is gonna recognize you. Now, how is that gonna work? Well, first of all, you have to become aware, become awareness, for you then to recognize everything else that is going on. So, as long as you're seated inside a body, you can't be awareness, since awareness would be aware of you thinking yourself to be located within a body. Is it not so that right now you are aware of your body? You call it also my body. Whose body? Isn't it so that right now you're aware of your mind and your thoughts? You even call it my mind and my thoughts. Whose mind? Whose thoughts? Usually you would then go, well, mine. I am Peter, and these are my thoughts. All the while you don't realize that Peter is just a thought that equally you're aware of. I say that again. Whether your name is Peter, please put in your name. If I ask you, what do you mean by my body? Whose body? You will say, my body. I am Angela, and this is my body. I'm Angela, and these are my thoughts. What are thoughts? Words. What are names? Words. What are all the thoughts together that you ever had, connecting them to another thought, your name? How does that make up anyone other than a network of thoughts? Angela is just a thought. My name is so and so is another thought. That thought lives within you, but it has nothing to do with you. You can have any type of thoughts. You can give yourself 3 names, and some people do that, and then they end up in the psychological institution, and they talk with other people who have 5 names, and so on and so forth. How is that possible? Look, I'm almost jealous of this guy over there. He has 3 personalities. Why I only have 1? But it's okay. Everything is okay within awareness, you see. Everything is allowed to appear. But the difference that you can make is whether you recognize this awareness, and by recognizing, I mean becoming that awareness. You being aware of all the phenomena that are going on inside or in front of you. however you want to look at it. You cannot locate awareness, it's everywhere and nowhere, because everything that happens appears within awareness. Even space, the expansion of infinite space, happens within awareness. Therefore, awareness doesn't have any space. It's not inside of space, it is space. And everything that appears inside of space, it is that too. And it's also outside of space. Where would outside of space be? Well, nowhere, which is exactly where you are. Now, here. Do you understand? Oh, boy. Okay, that was it for today. See you next Sunday or whatever.